Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. This Hyundai is nothing but problems. Last year I replaced the starter on the vehicle, and the original starter went out with around 45,000 miles. Not that hard to replace, but very disappointing that it went out so early in its vehicle's lifespan. Well, fast forward 1 year, we're having starting issues again. It's not a consistent start. Sometimes you turn the key and it's just absolute nothing. You get a one click. So the solenoid is definitely going bad. Something's going on, and winter time is approaching. As you guys can see, it's pitch black outside, about 40 degrees, and we got to get this done before it gets colder out, snow and all that stuff. So right over here we got a new starter that we ordered online, and hopefully this is the last starter that I have to even install on this vehicle. Should be good for another 50,000, I hope, and just never deal with this car again. Now this car, you guys already hear me vent on it. It's been nothing but problems with the suspension, clunking, clicking. The belts are making noise. It's got a different belt for each accessory. It's not like the one belt for all three, so it's a pain. Anyway guys, this is gonna be a quick video of taking off the old starter, testing the old starter, installing the new starter. Once I'm under the car, it's going to be hard to film, but I'm going to try to film whatever I can, and hopefully you guys learn something through this video or find it entertaining. Now first things first, the starter is going to be way underneath there, so we're going to take off some stuff on top. As I remember, first obviously you want to disconnect the negative battery terminal since you're dealing with the electronics of the vehicle. We're going to take off the air filter housing and all that, and possibly the ECM or ECU, which is right here. This controls the computer of the vehicle, just so we have access to go underneath there, so we can disconnect the two bolts that hold the starter into the transmission. So let's get started. Alright guys, at this point I got the intake housing off, I got the box out. All it took was 10 mil to disconnect the battery. There's three 10 mil bolts, one here, one in the back, and one on this side. Disconnect everything. And if we look down here, all right, as we come along here, you guys are gonna actually be able to see the starter. So there's one bolt on the bottom right there. Zoom in on that for you guys. That's one bolt. Another bolt is right there. You can see the solenoid right there. So what we're gonna do, so what you need is a 14 mil socket, and we're gonna just loosen up those bolts. Then we're finally gonna jack the car up. Since we finished everything on this side, we're gonna jack the car up on jack stands, safely get under the vehicle, and then disconnect the wires over there from the starter. And I'll catch you guys over there. Alright guys, at this point we got the two bolts off and loosened. Not off, but loosened. Alright guys, we are under the vehicle here, and you can see the starter motor and the solenoid. I just re-greased this the other day. I retest fitted all the connections. I sanded the connections down to make sure there's no rust on them, and they were still giving me an issue. So there's two nuts we have to take off. One here, one is under that boot right there, and there's a little solenoid wire here we have to pull off. See, the starter is already loose, as you can see. So first I'm gonna pull this pin up. This is pretty much sending the starter signal. When you turn the key, this is where it gets power from. The top one is your 12 volt power source. 12 volt power source doesn't directly go right here to turn the starter motor. That ignition one has to trigger this 12 volt to trickle down to this one to turn that motor. I'll explain it more once we have it out of the vehicle, but for now it's a 10 mil nut and then a 14 mil nut, and then we could pretty much, as you can see, we already got it loose, so we're just gonna wiggle it out. It'll drop right off. And now at this point you just gotta wiggle this whole thing off, and routing it out is probably the hardest parts. But I know we can run it down by the exhaust manifold, by the axle right over here. Alright guys, so this is the starter. I'm just examining it really quickly. Looks like all the teeth are there. I mean, again, this is 1 year old. And I was thinking about using this starter on starting or checking the compression on this motor by having this starter somehow mounted here where the teeth actually can spin this flywheel, and that way we can check compression. It won't fit from the opposite end, but maybe we can work something out here, because I do want to check that compression on this motor. But anyway guys, let's unbox the new starter we have right here. Alright ladies and gentlemen, it's time to open up and unbox the new starter we have here. Pretty well packaged. This is the new starter, guys. First and foremost, I really hope it's the same starter, because the solenoid is massive compared to the factory one right here. Alright guys, this is the comparison. The factory, the second one I've owned. This is the old one we just removed. This is the brand new one we just removed. And first impression, the new one looks a lot beefier for some reason. I don't know, maybe because it's just fresh. But the solenoid portion is definitely different than this one. Let's take a look at this from the side. So, like I said, I think the problem here on this starter is actually the solenoid, which is right here. And look at this one. This one's much beefier, which is a very positive thing. Now, the only difference is the connection right over here, and the angle of this connection is different. This old one is actually, look, it says right over here, it's maybe an original one, a remanufactured original by Hyundai. Vallejo is probably that company. And on the new one, Jayco. The machining isn't that good right here. As you can see, look, this isn't even a flat surface. It was nicked somewhere. So we're gonna maybe shave this down, so once we connect it back to the transmission, it is grounded evenly. As long as it works, boys, we'll be happy. Alright, so that's about it as far as the starter is concerned. Let's go ahead and reinstall this puppy, and we'll see. Hopefully she works much better. And this one will be our little toy for demonstration purposes. Alright guys, so the installation of this, we're pretty much going to do it in reverse. We're going to drop it in through there, feed it in. We're going to bolt it up from the top first, then we're going to go underneath the car, and we are going to connect the power cable that supplies the 12 volt, and we're going to connect that ignition trigger wire. This one is already connected. We're just going to make sure we retighten everything, and then yeah, it better crank every single time. So what I like to do right now, I'm just gonna clean and sand the grounding surfaces, which this is one of them, and all the cables that we have that are attached to the starter. We're gonna just again sand them all down so we have a better connection point later on when we install everything. Alright guys, as I imagine, everything went on pretty smooth. But because this ignition is pointed to the side and not up, this I just do not have enough slack to install this sideways. It has to be installed from the top, not from the side. This will require me to do it from the side. There's just not enough wire over here to do so from the side. I'm still going to try to mess around with it, but yeah, we do not have enough wire here, which is a total bummer. Something so small is just gave me a roadblock right here, because I don't know if I want to bend this up a little bit. I don't know if I want to extend these wires, cut them and extend them. I really don't want to deal with all that, but we'll see what we can think of. All right, lads, we managed to install the new starter. Everything is installed. I was able to stretch this cable a little bit and install it on that ignition mount right there. The cable is a little bit stretched, but other than that, it does click on pretty good. So I think we'll be all right. That's the only drawback of this starter, was the design of where that was pointed. Let's see if she starts up. I still got the car in the air. All right, started right up. Now again, the old starter, it started. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't completely dead. It was, you know what, I'll tell you after all this beeping noise goes away. How about that? All right, like I was saying, that the old starter wasn't completely bad. It still started the car, but it might have been after the second, third, or fourth try. Sometimes when you turn the key, all you would hear is a click and it wouldn't turn over. So hopefully that's not the case with this starter. I'm glad that ignition wire worked, and so far so good. Let's go ahead and turn it off, and we'll turn it on again here. See how well that works. I'm gonna go quick. All right, start it up again. No hiccups, no issues. Well guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. It's getting late. It's about 11 o'clock at night right now. Finished this job in about 2 hours while filming, trying to explain everything, double check everything. And stay tuned for the other video. That's where I'm gonna go test the old starter, try to see what was wrong with it. Hell, we might even rebuild that and try to learn as we go along. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and then you'll see more videos like these. Peace.
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along.